Good afternoon. The mentor that I selected is Lori DeNeff. She goes to my church. She's actually the senior pastor's wife. I decided to select her because she's in the ministry. She's a pastor wife, and currently that's where I'm at in my life, as being a pastor wife to my husband. And just working in a big church and trying to find your place in volunteering and learning to be able to say no to certain areas where you don't feel called to. So learning that wisdom and that guidance, and also how to help my husband in the ministry process, and also to be able to learn how to develop my ministry that would be beneficial for us both. So I decided to do this a little bit earlier. Our first meeting was on Thursday, January 26, 2017. We met at 7 p.m. at Starbucks. You gotta enjoy Starbucks. It lasted about 70 minutes. It was probably about an hour and 10 minutes. And our conversation was really good. I learned about her spiritual journey of how she grew up, how her family life was when she got saved, learning how she develops herself in her devotional time. I know that was one thing I shared with her and asked, like, how do you personally walk with the Lord, but also how do you get inspired daily? Because being a Christian for a long time, sometimes you get in these droughts of not feeling like the same disciplines that you're doing, like doing your devotions of journaling every day, work for so many years, but then they just change and you feel like you're in a desert. So I was talking to her about that, and so she was giving me insight. She recommended a book for me, which I am hoping to get. It's a devotion book by historical Christians. She said it's really good. It gives really some insightful things. There's a devotional, a scripture, and a prayer. So it's not going to be time consuming, but it does take those moments of time to make the time for devotion. She talked about how to be a minister with a family. One thing that she stood out to me that was really empowering that I never thought about, especially because we're going to be having our first child, and I'm thinking, like, how are we going to be able to have people over all the time? How are we going to have our busy schedule of always going? Addicted to hurry we are. How are we going to make that transition? And she said to me, do not make your child the center of your life, but make your child part of your life. And I was just really blown away by that statement, because so many times that I have seen and I thought was just natural is when you have a baby, it becomes the center. Oh, we can't go out because the baby needs to sleep. It needs its structured schedule. It needs to stay on its schedule and its time. But she's really challenging me to reframe that mindset of making the child part of your ministry. So if you do have a small group at 9 p.m., which we've had, or if you do have an event at like 10 p.m., make your child part of that ministry. Bringing that child along, let it not to be a hinder of the ministry, but include it. So when they grow up, they realize, like, wow, like, my parents dedicated their lives to giving to people, but also, like, showing that developing others and being developed yourself is very important. So that was really interesting to have that different perspective on the ministry piece, which I never thought, like, wow, making the children part of your ministry, not the center of it. She gave me some marriage advice, which everyone needs. Just learning the balance of both going for, like, our ordination. Ethan's going for his. He'll have his this summer, and I'm going to have mine hopefully the next couple of years. And just being able to bring balance out in the marriage, to be supportive in our own ministry. She gave me insightful things, not to critique my husband's sermon that same day, but wait a couple days, or if he does a small group lesson, or if he's leading a meeting, don't critique him right away, but give him the time of building him up, and then slowly in a loving way giving him the feedback that will be great criticism for him to improve. She talked to me about different conflict resolutions. I know in marriage you always have conflict, which is huge, and so just learning to be able to just respect each other's opinion. She said to agree to not to disagree. So if you're in a heated discussion and you feel like it's not going to get anywhere, agree that you're not going to get anywhere. Put it on pause for you guys to think about it, and just take that moment to be with each other, and then find a time to do it again, to discuss it, and go through it again. So it was kind of interesting, the different things, the different statements of making your child part of your ministry, not the center of your ministry, and to agree to disagree with your spouse. So it was really encouraging and very insightful. And she gave me, I told her that my Bible walk has been kind of dry recently. I feel like I've been doing the same thing with journaling and stuff. And so she did recommend that book, but there's also a Tuesday night small group meeting with women that study the Bible like verse by verse, and so she recommended me to go with her. So I'm thinking about trying it out. Unfortunately though, it's on the same night of our small group, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to sneak in and out of that, but it was just really insightful. I'm really excited that I got to meet with her and got to hear more of her story. And our next meeting, we're going to do it in 2 weeks, so not this coming week, but the following week we'll meet together again, she said. And so we'll be able to do this and pick her brain apart more, and all the books that I'm reading to actually give her more questions as well. So it was just really insightful, and I had a really good time with it. I think it's going to be good and it's going to be helpful, and I'm so glad that we're able to do this assignment. It's pushed me to find that mentor and to ask those hard questions and to be honest with someone, which is so important. Well, thank you. Bye.